Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the 74 Triumph TR6. I haven't posted a video about this car for a while because I was doing the 75 TR6 engine and I didn't want to mix the two engine rebuilds, so it's not confusing for you. But now that the 75 is finished, we're coming back to this one. So just to remind you, in the last video we installed the timing cover, we played with the distributor drive gear and play, then we positioned it in the proper orientation and we adjusted the valves. So now let's start finishing. Let's put everything else that belongs to the engine so we can install it on the frame, and eventually one day we're gonna start it, or at least we're gonna attempt to. Okay, next let's install the water pump. And then the crank pulley. As far as it can go. Then this extension, I don't remember what this was called. It has dowels here, they need to match. And then our bolt. That's gonna push everything in place. Okay, and this is where we're gonna leave this for now. What else? I think we should install the engine mounts, and maybe we should take it off the stand and put it on the frame finally. And this is where we're gonna finish the rest. Here, these two brackets, as far as I know, are identical. They're not handed. Even though the bracket itself is not symmetrical, the two are identical. So it doesn't matter which one goes where. That's upside down. That's how they go. And here we have our body mount, which I'm gonna assemble loosely because here, I don't know if you see, these are slotted, so I'm not sure exactly where we're gonna need the body mount to be on the slot. So we're gonna just put it loosely there with a washer, of course, and we're gonna tighten this once we position the engine on the frame. And here we're gonna put our hardware, so we don't need to look for it when we are on the frame. We can also install our lifting eye on this side. And last but not least, for this side, we're gonna put our plug right here. You might want to install a peacock if you want to be able to drain your coolant. Just put a little bit of a sealant there, gasket maker. With this, that's how the bracket fits, but before that, it's very important that we close all the openings on the oil gallery. So here, 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 and here. And actually here there's another one which I didn't remove because I couldn't, but there are plugs like this that take an Allen key. And this one didn't want to come out, so I didn't want to force it, because once you screw up the hex, it's hard to take it out or to do whatever. So I just decided to keep this one in. But these four are out. What I forgot to mention when I was chasing the threads on the engine is that I don't chase these threads, because I believe these ones are on a cone, because As you can see, this thing doesn't have a shoulder, but it tightens there. It goes only a certain amount and then it stops. And just in case, I put a little bit of gasket maker on the threads. If you know me, you know that I love this gasket maker. I put it on my everywhere, even on my sandwiches sometimes. As a salad dressing, as a burger sauce, everywhere. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's better. These two are under the engine mount bracket and it's easy to miss them. Okay, this is a little bit sketchy because of this. I don't know why these are designed this way, but I can't position the crane over the engine as in the center of the engine because these overlap all the supports. But I'm gonna start lifting and we'll see where that's gonna end. Let me pull you back a little. Let's see if that's gonna end up in a disaster. And before we forget, put the belt on. It's hard after that. It's dark there, right? But these inside are still loose, so I can slide the engine back and forth. Like you see, it moves here. And I'm gonna tighten these only when I have the transmission installed, because that's gonna ensure that the engine is parallel to the frame. And also I will try to position everything as far back as possible so I can have a little bit of room here, which I don't know if I'm gonna, but maybe, because I'm pretty sure that on the 73 TR6 that I restored, I have enough room there for the belt to go in and out without interfering with the steering rack or with the cross member that goes here on the frame. But we will see. So for now, these are gonna be loose and we're gonna tighten them at the end. So now I have to find a way to support the rear end of the engine a little bit, so I can remove this, remove the crane, or maybe I can just keep the crane here for a while, but I need this rear end of the engine to be supported on its own. I don't want it to hang on the crane. Something like this. Supported with the jack stand on this side. And now we can take out this part from the engine stand and we can install our rear engine plate, our flywheel, clutch, etc, etc. Okay, and the first thing to do here at the back, before we forget, is gonna be to put the last freeze plug. These are not freeze plugs, but everybody's calling them that, so I just call them that too. I know they are not freeze plugs. So this one comes in this shape. It's not like this, and it's not brass or bronze. I don't know what these are. It works just fine. This is how you install these. Still the same way. I didn't show you here, but there is a rim Like there's a rim here, before it hits the camshaft, it's gonna stop, so that's important to know. We have to go all the way until it stops. But you see how easy it went? We have to do something very important here, which I missed once. I guess you've seen my video where I didn't do that, and an engine was leaking badly from here. It wasn't sealing properly. What we do after it's installed, after it hit the rim, we just take a 1/2-inch socket and give it a few smacks in the middle, like in the center, like this. Like this, maybe a little bit more. Now, because of the shape, since we try to make it flat, this metal from here, like this, it's trying to go somewhere and it's going to the sides. So that's what you do here to make sure that it holds perfectly tight and there's no problem. Oh, another thing that I might forget is to paint this. So I'm gonna take it out now that I noticed it. I'm gonna take it out, we're gonna paint it, and we're gonna put it back. So anyway, now we can install our engine plate, which comes something like that. Starter comes on this side, right? The flat part is at the bottom. There's another dowel here. So we do only these internal holes. Next, we're gonna install the flywheel, but we have to make sure that we have the pilot bush inside the flywheel. It goes on the back side, so once the flywheel is installed, you can't take it out. The early TR6, I think 1969, and the TR250 have a little bit wider, I mean, maybe double the size of that. I think it's about 1 inch deep bush, and the later cars have this 1/2 inch, I believe. It's more or less like. This bush is there just to guide the input shaft of the transmission and protect it from vibrating, because it's a long shaft and it's not supported anywhere. And so the bush is there to guide it one side. Just gonna put some grease on it, and now we can install the flywheel. There's a dowel here on the crankshaft. We need to match it with the hole here. There's only one hole for the dowel. Put another wrench on the front of the crank. So that's everything. Okay. Okay, now let's clean this baby. And next we can install our clutch. So this is a regular clutch, AP brand, nothing special about it. It has direction, it's marked here on the plate. It says flywheel side. So this side goes to the flywheel, and I don't have a dummy shaft here, it's at home, but what I have is a real shaft. So I don't need a dummy shaft if I have a real one, do I? However, it doesn't want to go through. What? That's weird. Okay. And then that's how we're gonna do it. And here the torque spec is 20 foot-pounds. There you go. We're ready for the transmission on this end. But we're not gonna do that yet. Let's finish all the auxiliaries on the engine. Alright, for the auxiliaries I needed to go a little bit through the containers here and find fuel pumps and alternators, starters and stuff like that. And I did a little bit of reorganization here at the table, and let me walk you through what I found. These are all the parts that are left over from our engine that we're gonna have to throw in the garbage. I just kept them for I don't know what reason for now. They are garbage now. I like to keep these because I turn them into tools for turning the engine. So I don't know. Unfortunately, that's something that we can't. I don't know. I might save it just in case with those bolts. You know, the shaft and everything. Anyways, this is what's hardware I have left over from the engine. The crankshaft that we're gonna put on the shelf, and it's gonna one day we're gonna grind it and we're gonna make it work again with the block that's hiding behind there. We have parts for another engine on that shelf. Anyways, I started gathering parts here to see if we have enough to make this engine running, because I can't wait to hear it starting now. A couple of times I was like, okay, we're not going to be able to start it soon, and every time I was able to actually find some solution, I'm hoping. So we will see. We're going to have to order some parts, but I'm hoping that we have enough here to just to make the engine run for the initial break-in, and then we're going to replace parts when they arrive, because nowadays with parts it's a long wait. So the engine that we just rebuilt came without starter, alternator, fuel pump, and came with the distributor, but I'll show you what was going on with the distributor. So I had to take the ones from our 74 from the containers that came with the car, and that's what was in the containers. So this is the alternator, and it was taken apart, I guess, for painting, because these parts were painted already, but the alternator was not painted. So I'm thinking that doesn't look too good to me. For whatever reason, I don't trust it. For the initial break-in, do we even need to have a working alternator? Maybe not. Maybe we can just put a battery with a charger and go from there. So the alternator doesn't worry me much. We have one to work with. We have two more to work with if we have to. These are from a GT6, but anyways. Then I found the fuel pump, and it's taken apart. Like it's been opened and put back together, which is not a really good sign, is it? So again, I took one from the containers, from my GT6 containers. We will see if this one works. I have the feeling it sucks, I don't know. Until we install it on the car, we won't be able to tell. But again, we can use an electric pump initially. If this doesn't work, we can just use electric pump to start the engine initially. And the distributor. So this is the distributor that came with the engine that we just rebuilt, and it's missing all the guts from here. It turned out that David Fiedler bought the electronic ignition from Paul Martin, who sold me this engine. So we don't have anything inside the distributor, which is fine. So I pulled out this distributor, which is from the 74. It was in the containers and it's nasty. So I thought I would pull out the points from here and capacitor and everything and install it here. But then I realized that something is wrong with this one. That can't be right. And then I saw inside, I don't know if you see here, but there's something loose. So I'm not even gonna bother with this. Something is really wrong with it. I'm gonna have to clean this up and work with this one. This one turns nicely, the points work. I'm gonna just clean them. We're gonna order new ones, or maybe we can order electronic ignition, we will see, but for now we can work with these points. We're gonna just clean them up and everything, and we're gonna go from there. We have the distributor cap with the wires, so that's fine. And coil, we don't have a coil, so I found this coil, which is the discarded coil from my Spitfire, and I'm not really sure that it is a good coil, because it should be either 1.5 or 3 ohm resistance. But what this one is, I don't know if you see well, what this one is, it's 4.5. Now it's even more, 5. How, it was 4.5 before. There you go, it goes down. So probably that's why I discarded it from my Spitfire, but I kept it, of course, because that's what I do. I don't throw parts. Anyways, we're gonna have to figure out something else about the coil, because I don't trust this one. It should be either 3 or 1.5, which means for 12-volt system or for 6-volt system. So for the initial break-in, again, I don't care if we get 12-volt or 6-volt, we can work either way. We can use a 6-volt with a resistor wire, or we can use a 12-volt directly to the battery. So we will decide when we find the coil what system we're going to use. And what else? The starter. We have a couple of starter motors in the containers for 74 TR6, but one of them is with a broken solenoid, and it looks good, it's painted and it's everything, but the solenoid is broken. I don't know why it's been painted. And this one looks like this, but it's complete. So I guess we're gonna try to use this one and see if it works well. If it works well, then we're gonna take it out again and we're gonna paint it. So that's that. And what else? Last but not least, it's the heater valve. This is the 74 one that came in the containers, but actually when I close it and I blow in it, it's leaking in closed position. So again, it's been painted, but for no reason. I'm not gonna use it. This one, when it's closed, like this is the closed position, it's holding. I'm gonna have to clean it a little bit, paint this tube, and we're gonna install it. And what else? I found this pipe, which we're gonna need, and I have the green set hose, which I ordered a long time ago. So I think we have enough. I think we have everything that we need. I also ordered oil, Valvoline VR1 20W50 with added zinc. I also ordered oil for the diff, and I also ordered, what else did I order? I ordered oil filter, because we have the adapter for spin-on oil filter, so I ordered that. I guess I'm not gonna clean and paint anything until I make sure that it runs well. And if it runs well, then I'm gonna take it out and clean it and paint it properly. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna install this alternator, this starter, this fuel pump that came from my TR6, this distributor. I might just wash it a little bit. It's gross. I wouldn't put it on the engine just like this. So this distributor, this and this, only for coil. I'm still not sure what I'm gonna do. So I'm not gonna hold you for that. All this I can install on my own, and I'll bring you back eventually for more preparations if we need to have any for this build. So that's gonna be it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, thanks for commenting and subscribing, thanks for sharing, and thanks for supporting me on Patreon. So if you don't know yet, I have a Patreon account, and if you like my videos, you can consider supporting me on Patreon. You can find me on Patreon as Rusty Beauties, or you can go down to the video description. There's a link to my Patreon account. And if you want to support me in another way by making a one-time donation, you can do that by sending me a PayPal to my email, elin.yakov@rustybeauties.com, or you can choose just to keep watching my videos as they are for free without losing any benefits, and that's perfectly fine. Whether you support me financially or not, you have full access to everything. You don't lose any benefits. So that's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Bye.